Hey guys, Dan here from Your Guitar Academy and welcome to the first lesson in our Unlocking Minor CAGED. And what we're going to be doing in this course, and certainly starting in this unit, is we're going to be putting all the CAGED chord shapes together across the neck, so 5 shapes, layering up the pentatonics, the arpeggios, the full diatonic scales, so that you've got this wealth of ideas. And when it comes to your improvisation, whether it be chord or lead, you're going to be able to fly across the whole fretboard using minor chords as well. Minor chords, minor scales, minor arpeggios. You're going to have such a powerful improvisational tool here that it's going to be massive in terms of your development in the long run. Now, first little thing I want to say here before we dive into this first lesson is that you will need to have done the major CAGED version of this course as well, because we're really building upon that. And the great news is that if you've done that course, then you'll be halfway to doing this one already. You'll already know where the notes are across the neck. You'll already know where your major triads are. And to make the minor triads, it's just going to be a slight edit, which we'll talk about in this lesson. So when you're ready, pick up your guitars and join me. Let's get started. Hey there guys, if you've just joined us, then don't forget that you can get all the write-ups, the tab, the fretboard diagrams and everything else over on the website absolutely free, and the link will be below in the description. If you're watching us here on YouTube absolutely free, then please do like the video, subscribe to the channel and leave us a comment. We do our absolute best to get back to every single question that you guys have about the course. Okay guys, so that was a bit of a fun playthrough to see what we're going to be aiming for towards the end of this course. And you can see I was basically moving in and out of the keys as we move through them using the techniques that we're going to be working on. So there's loads of exciting stuff to go on with. In this lesson, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be learning the first position, the E minor shape position, and the arpeggio that goes with it. But first up, I just want to talk just that tiny little bit of theory. So as I said at the beginning, you need to have done that major CAGED version of this course, because in the major CAGED version, we used all the same concepts. So for example, when we were learning the E shape, we learned the E major CAGED chord, okay? And we learned that, you know, in all these different positions, okay, which is great. Now, when we're dealing with minor, all you have to do to create a minor chord is take your major chord and flatten the third. Now that's going to be hugely important, because if you already know your CAGED chords in major, you're going to be quite quickly able to just alter them slightly to make them minor, all right? So for example, this first chord that we're going to be learning is an A minor chord, Now, if you take your A major chord as an example, so that E shape, that classic bar chord, okay, which we ended up in the previous CAGED chord course, that's quite a mouthful, by the way, playing like this. This kind of Hendrix way, or you might have just wanted the triad there. However you ended up playing it, that's kind of how you were looking at me play it throughout the CAGED course. Now, in that instance, we've got a root, a major third, and a fifth. Root, major third, fifth, okay? And what we're going to be doing to create a minor chord is keeping the root, keeping the fifth, but taking the third and flattening it. As soon as you flatten that third degree, you create a minor chord. Just listen to that difference. So you've got major, and now I'm going to flatten the third, so I'm going to take it down one semitone to there, and you've got minor. Massive difference in tone. You've got the major kind of happiness, and that more melancholy kind of minor kind of sadness. The classic way of talking about major minor chords. Okay? So that's something to bear in mind, and we'll constantly be referencing those major CAGED chords so you can see how you're not necessarily learning 5 entirely new shapes here. They're already based on something that's very familiar. Okay? So this chord as a whole, as its more classic way to play it, would look something like this. Okay? So this is the bar chord version where you take your first finger and you bar it across the 5th fret all the way down. Now, if you hate bar chords, then I wouldn't recommend starting with this one. This is one of the hardest bar chords to play because it really relies on 4 of the strings being barred, okay? The other 2 are here. So we've got the 3rd finger on the 7th fret, okay, which is the 5th degree of the scale, and the little finger on the 7th fret of the D string, which is the root, okay? So this chord as a whole, when you're talking as a bar chord, you get these notes. You get root, 5th, root, flat 3rd, 5th, root, okay? So this is where it's important to know your theory a little bit, because when you kind of dial that chord down and you kind of break it up, you'll notice that we've got 3 root notes, we've got 2 fifths, and 1 flat 3rd. And all we really need, when we're playing the chord, is a root, a flat 3rd, and a 5th. So if you just took the D string, G string, and B string of that chord, you got root, flat 3rd, 5th. And that's all you need to be able to play, okay? Sounds fantastic. If anything, it sounds better than that. You know, there's definitely a time and a place for this kind of big, chunky, when I was growing up listening to a lot of indie music in the early 2000s, it was, these are the chords you wanted to know, definitely. But, if you hate playing those bar chords, then there's loads of other ways. The key thing is that you have the root, the flat 3rd, and the 5th, when you're dealing with a flat out minor triad. So you could either play it with the bar, you can play it just the little triad there, like that. You can bring your thumb over the top if you like that, or you have that capability with your hand. Might need slightly bigger hands. Some of you guys might not just literally have the physicality to do that. It's no problem. There's no rules here. As long as you're playing the root, the flat 3rd, the 5th, we're golden, okay? So you might see me doing it with the thumb on the root, then the octave of the root, the flat 3rd, and the 5th. And I'm blocking off the A and the high E string, okay? That's kind of the gist of it. There's other ways as well. You could even if you just wanted the high end version of the chord, you could just do that. So literally just that's flat 3rd, 5th, and root. So it's just an inversion of the chord, but it is absolutely the right chord. So you've got all of those options at your disposal. Whatever it is, the key thing is that the root, the way you find this chord, is built on the E string. High or low or high, okay? So that's gonna enable you to kind of move this chord around, which is gonna be crucial in later stages of this course. So however you play that, settle on one of them, and you're gonna see me do it like that, okay? I just like that feeling, I like that style, that kind of Hendrix-esque kind of approach, shanty style thing. So that's my minor chord, okay? And what we're going to do is layer on top of that the minor arpeggio, so the minor triad arpeggio. So again, we need the root, we need the flat 3rd, and we need the 5th. The only difference here when you're dealing with an arpeggio, when it's kind of like a lead-based arpeggio, like we're going to be doing, is that you kind of want those things to be in order. So whereas in the chord you can go root, root, third, fifth, or root, fifth, root, third, flat third, fifth, you know, it can be in pretty much whatever order, you know, as long as the root is on the lower end. It doesn't even have to be, but you can basically put that chord in any order you want because you're going to hear all the notes together. When it comes to the arpeggio, you want those in order of notes, so you really define what that arpeggio is. So the arpeggio sounds like this. And we can even do that at the top. Okay, I'm sure a lot of you guys would have heard that arpeggio before, and we're now going to go through it. It's a really cool arpeggio actually, one that you can get a lot of speed up with, a kind of almost sweep picking kind of style here if you wanted to. You'll see players like Steve Vai use it a lot. It's just a great sound, that minor arpeggio. So let's go through it in terms of its fret positions and how I would play it with what fingers. So I start with the root, okay, and that's on the 5th fret, and that's my 1st finger. Then I'm going to do the flat 3rd on the 8th fret, which is my 3rd finger, little finger. And then you've got 2 options. You could either, well, you've got 3 options maybe. What you'll see me do is now I'm going to flatten my 3rd finger against the A string and the D string on the 7th fret. Okay, and that's going to give me my 5th and back to the root again. Okay, and you want to try and get some kind of individual note sounding. It's not as a chord, so you don't really want that as much, but you can just kind of roll that finger over. See, I just kind of roll it over to kind of get that sound of individual notes. Otherwise, I'll play it like this as well. You can even play it as if you were playing the chord. So with your 3rd finger and then little finger. So 1st finger, little finger, 3rd finger, little finger, whatever you prefer. And then you go to the flat 3rd, so that's the 5th fret on the G string, then 5th fret on the B string, and then 5th fret on the high E string. So it's literally flat 3rd, 5th, root. And there you really do want to just use one finger and kind of roll through it. Or you could even, if you wanted to just hold that there, you could use your right hand to do a bit of palm muting. A little kind of dampening as you go. So pressure off, pressure off, pressure off to try to roll through that sound. And then at the top, we can add the flat 3rd as well, just to, because it's a nice shape like that. Okay, so I'm going to do it really, really slowly, that shape, okay? And you can kind of have a little play around with this, see what fingers you prefer to use. And remember, throughout this course, we're not looking to develop crazy speed. I'm not looking to give you exercises in that kind of sense. We're just looking to identify the tonalities here, because when it comes to kind of playing over changes, what I'm setting you up here for is that you can target key notes of a chord. So you can target the root, the flat 3rd, the 5th. It doesn't mean you have to be able to go, you know, do sweep picking through it, not at all. Okay, that'll come in a whole different course. That's a whole nother subject, and probably one that I won't be teaching as well. But this is all about going, okay, well look, I'm about to hit that A minor chord. I'm going to land on the flat 3rd. That really defines, you know, like that. So that's what it's all about. So as you go through the arpeggio, I want to hear you going root, flat 3rd, 5th, root, flat 3rd, 5th, root, flat 3rd. That's more interesting to me, knowing that, than going, as you can see. I'm not even very good at doing that myself. So that's the key thing to bear in mind as you go through this. And also, you know, what fingers do you like to use? Okay, so experiment. So you might try it with the flat finger. You might try it with the 2 fingers. Honestly, I couldn't tell you which one I prefer. Maybe I think if I was being really honest, I would do it with the 2 fingers going down and coming up. I do it with the one finger. So slightly different on the way up and down. So there's no hard rules there, whatever you find comfortable. And finally, with your right hand, try and do economy picking. So you're gonna wanna do down, up, down, 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 up. Okay. Essentially, you go in the direction you're facing, so down, 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 unless you're doing 2 notes on a string where you're gonna alternate pick it. And equally, when you're coming up, you want to be going down, up, 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 down. So you're kind of just, you know, you're not alternate picking across strings. That's kind of hard work. This is a lot easier to try and do it like that. That's a little bit of advice to enable you to speed it up in the long run eventually, but for now, it's not the key thing we're learning here. Okay, so there we have the gist of it. We've got the first chord, okay, that shape, however you choose to play that, and we've got the arpeggio. So I want you to kind of glue those two together, have a bit of fun practicing it, and I'll see you in the next lesson. Okay guys, so that's it for this lesson. Now, if you want to see the next lesson along in the series, then click the big old box that will pop up here. And if you want to start from the beginning of the playlist here on YouTube, click the box here. Also, please do remember to like the video, subscribe to our channel for all of these wonderful courses, as well as leave us a comment. We really do our best to get back to every single question that you guys have about the course. I'll see you next time.